So here we go. So I'm Ms. Rice. This is my 10th year of teaching, my 5th year teaching at Eastside Catholic High School, and my 3rd year teaching 12th grade English. I got my bachelor's in English and French from Santa Clara University outside of San Jose, California. And then I got my master's in education from Stanford University. I taught for 5 years down in the Bay Area, and then I moved back up here because I was ready to be back with my family. I grew up in this area. My brother works as the accountant at Eastside Catholic, and he said they have an opening in their English department. And I was really excited for the opportunity, and I'm so glad that I took it because I've been here ever since. I got my national board teaching certification in the 2017-2018 school year was when I did it. It's a long process, but I was lucky enough to have the current seniors that I'm teaching when they were freshmen. And so I got to record video of their classroom participation and send in writing samples from them. And so I am very grateful to them because I think I owe a great deal of the fact that I received that from the amazing work that they did in my classroom that year. So our goals for 12th grade English are all of the stuff that I think makes high school English so great. We get to read some really interesting and complex texts. We get to become better writers by writing for different purposes, different audiences, develop as critical thinkers. I think the question that I ask more than any other question in the classroom is what is your evidence for that? So we're always making sure that we can find evidence to support the ideas and opinions and claims that we're making. Developing a voice as a writer, making historical connections across the literature that we're reading, and then always examining and questioning. And in my experience, there's nothing that teenagers love to do more than to question why things are the way that they are. And it's a joy to be able to invite those questions in the English classroom. The most important things I think that you all need to know that I want my students to know, and I truly hope that it's clear that my students know this by the end of the year through the way that I work to help them and support them, but I do care very deeply about each of them. This slide used to say, I care about your child, and now that they're seniors, I think they're not quite children anymore, but these young adults that are on the cusp of adulthood, and I care about them not only as students in my English classroom, but as people, that I'm invested in working together as a team. Just because they are on the cusp of adulthood does not mean that they still don't need the support of the adults in their lives, like their parents and teachers. So I think that probably I'm more likely to err on the side of involving parents more than the students would like. But I think that while they are approaching adulthood, it's still important that you are part of the process and aware of their progress in the class. Senior year of high school, I think it's such a cool year to teach. It's such a cool opportunity to see these young people who are getting ready to go out into the world, and they get to experience more independence and more responsibility and ownership for who they are. But it's also a safe setting to do that, where we can support them through failures and the stakes aren't that high. And I really enjoy that part of the process of teaching seniors. Okay, in terms of communication, students can email me or chat with me on Teams. And I can respond within a few hours on the same day, but always definitely within 48 hours. You are all welcome to email me anytime through Plus Portals. You can also use just type into the email, jesrice@eastsidecatholic.org. Just one thing to note, because my brother does work here as well, and he got hired first 5 years before I did, he got the email address jrice@eastsidecatholic.org. So if you email jrice, it will be sent to him. He will forward it to me. But sometimes that means it may take a little bit longer for me to get back to you because it has to go through him first. And then I'm also, of course, always happy to talk over the phone or on video chat. I'm available for office hours Mondays and Thursdays when it's built into our school schedule, community period Tuesdays and Fridays when it's built into our school schedule, and then by chat throughout the day or staying on after I dismiss everybody else from our video call. I'm staying on the call for individual help or questions, just like if it's students take after class in a classroom to ask me a question. I would say in my experience, it seems like the seniors are doing pretty well navigating all of these different platforms that we have to share information with them. I think different teachers have different philosophies about how to make this work, but my philosophy is be as redundant as possible. So give access to the same information at every single place that I can think of that a student or a parent would go to look for that information. So I am trying to collect the most detailed information in a live document called the Remote Learning Calendar. That's on every Sunday on the Plus Portals calendar. There's a link to it. I also linked it in OneNote in the content library, and I also linked it as a tab at the top of our English 12 7th period Teams page. So even if a student goes somewhere where the information isn't housed, at least I've put a link there so that they could get access to it. And then because we're all really familiar with the system of having assignment due dates on the Plus Pros calendar, I also have those posted on the day the assignment is due. But the issue with that is that doesn't give all of the information about like what you might need to make up if you were absent in class on a given day, or are we having a class meeting at a particular time or not. So the remote learning calendar looks like this. I'll just give the schedule for the week and then all of the information for what they need to do. I did check and confirm with 7th period yesterday that they know where this is and how to access it. And like I said, it seems like they have not been having too many problems with it so far. But I hope that if they ever are frustrated or confused or something about how I'm presenting information isn't working for them, that they will feel comfortable, or that you could encourage them to reach out and to let me know, because my goal is to be as helpful and transparent as possible so that this very new way of learning is as manageable as it can be for them. I just want to talk quickly about my late work policy, which is a change from previous years. I think that we all, adults and children, need to recognize that, especially while we're living through a global pandemic, none of us can meet our commitments 100% of the time. And I know that's something that's been challenging for me because I pride myself on being very competent in my job. And it's been humbling to realize that that's not something that I can necessarily do. There aren't enough hours in the day to do everything that needs to be done to teach in a remote learning setting. And that means that I have missed things, that either deadlines that I set for myself internally or deadlines that, I had told students I would have something back by a certain day. So I do not expect that every student can finish every single assignment by the due date that I give. However, I think it is fair to expect that every student will communicate with me if they aren't going to finish something on time. And that's the life skill that I think I care about more. Just as if I didn't have something done for my boss at a time when I said I would send him an email and say, hey, Ryan, I thought that I would have a chance to have this done by 11 a.m., but it looks like it's going to be closer to 5 p.m. today. I'm sorry about that, but I'm letting you know in advance. That's what I'm expecting from the students. So if they do that, if they communicate with me in advance by Teams or email to say they won't be able to finish the assignment, I will give them full credit for it, even if they turn it in after the due date. So here's an example. And I blocked this out, the name of this student, for their privacy, but they sent it to me today. And they said, I won't be able to finish the paragraph by 9. Could I get the time extended until 12? This is exactly what I would want to see from any student. And this is exactly what I would expect an adult to do for a commitment that they realize they can't make. And then I also sometimes try to help remind the students that it's okay to not continue working until late hours of the evening. It makes no difference to me if they turn in an assignment at midnight or if they turn it in at 9 a.m. the next day, because I'm not going to be looking at it at midnight. Okay, and then I'm going to skip over grades. I'm going to skip over this part. This is the last part in my remaining 60 seconds that I want to make sure I share with you, because it is, for some reason, it seems to be more challenging for high school seniors to get their textbooks than it does for younger grades. I put together all of the books that they need on an Amazon list, and you can access that list by going to tinyurl.com/ENG12 book list. If you go there, you can just add every single book on that list to your cart and have them delivered all at once. And I would encourage you to do that immediately for 2 reasons. One is so that we don't run into a situation where we start the unit and I'm giving them reading assignments and they still don't have their book, and it makes it really challenging to participate meaningfully in class, and it also means they're behind. And then 2, because what we learned last spring was that at the beginning of the pandemic in March, Amazon was actually not shipping books out. So we ran into issues with students not being able to get the book that they needed for like 6 or 7 weeks at a time. And because I'm starting to realize that we can't predict what may happen next, I want us to be as prepared as possible. So if your senior does not have all of the copies of the books that they need for English 12 at this point, I would ask for your help in ensuring that they do so in the next week or so that they have them, so that if anything happens, that we can still continue with our learning. Okay, so out of my 5 class periods, this is the one where I was able to get through the most. And I still, of course, ran out of time for everything that I wanted to say. I wanted to be able to talk and rave about all the books that we're going to read, because that's my favorite part. But please feel free to email me if you have any questions. Again, JESRACE@eastsidecatholic.org. And the last thing I'll say is that I don't think there's any greater gift as a teacher than being able to see students that you taught grow and become the people that they are. And I feel particularly grateful that I get that gift this year of teaching students that I have taught as freshmen and getting to teach them again as seniors and to see who they have become and who they will become. And that's truly a blessing that I have, and I don't take it lightly. So I thank all of you for the support that you've given your students over your children over the years. And I know it's going to be an excellent year, regardless of where or when we are learning. It's going to be an excellent year with them. So thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.